I had a great idea, so I'd like to share it with you today. I'm Alana from Upcycling NZ. Welcome to my channel. A while back I did a wrapped rock tutorial and it's been very popular. I'll put the link down below in the description box. So I thought, why not do the same thing to shells? So here I've got a big variety of flat-sided scallop shells. And I've been thinking up ways to wrap them, but for today we're just going to focus on two simple styles. For style number one, we're going to take the shell and some twine. Then take the loose end of your twine, hold it on a diagonal with some extra hanging out and lock it in with your index finger. And then at the bottom, just right of the center of the shell, wrap it up and around the third ridge at the top. And when you come back down again, go to the right of the twine at the bottom of the shell and then through the second ridge at the top. Then go to the left of the twine at the bottom of the shell and over the third ridge. Then you can wind to the left of the twine each time to the center of the shell. Then you can release that tail at the back and move your index finger to hold your working end and pull on your tail, and that will hang down at the center of your shell. Then when you flip it over, you'll see that conveniently the twine is running down the ridges at the back of the shell. Now with the working end, continue to stay to the left of the tail and your twine and continue to wind around the ridges until you reach symmetry on the other side. Then lock that down at the very bottom and hold it from the back with your index finger. Now you can trim off the working end with a bit of a tail, pull it tight and feed it underneath your first 4 lengths of twine that are wound around your shell. Now you could use any type of string, twine, wool or thread for this. And once you've got your end through, pull tight on that and it will free up your other hand. Then I like to tighten everything up just by pulling on your 2 loose ends, and then I tie a double knot at the top just to secure it. And that's style 1 completed. I don't really like the hairy bits that sort of fray off the twine, so I burn them off for a more professional finish. Don't worry if that was a bit fast and you missed it, because style number 2 is effectively exactly the same with a slight variation. So we're going to do it again. This time I'm going to take the shiny side of the shell just to show you that you can do this from either side. So again, take your twine across on an angle, slightly to the right of the center of the shell, to the right at the bottom with your twine, and up and over, and then to the left at the bottom with your twine. Heading over to the center, change fingers and release your tail. Quick check that it's lining up at the back correctly. And continue winding, keeping to the left hand side of your tail until you reach symmetry on the other side. So if we were doing style number 1 again, this shell only needed 3 winds from the center, so you'd only feed it under 3 of your pieces of twine. You're just aiming to make sure that it meets at the center where your loose end was. So at this point it's where we vary it slightly for style number 2. So I'm going to take that longer end that I have trimmed off and I'm going to thread it through a darning needle. My darning needle didn't have a very big eye at the top, so it was a little bit tricky getting my twine through it. So now instead of going underneath all the other pieces of twine, I'm going to start to weave under and over it across the face of the shell. So make sure that your needle doesn't go through your twine, you just want it to go cleanly underneath or over. And it doesn't matter if you start on an over or an under. Once you've got your needle through, pull it, create the tension and you can release your hand. Now you can pull your working end down towards the bottom, and I just use the darning needle to push down those threads in between. Put tight again. And now we're going to do the opposite way. So if you end it on an under, start with an over. If you're finding that quite hard to do, that's kind of a good thing because it means you've got some really good tension on your twine. If you find it just too difficult, when you're winding your twine, maybe just don't pull so tight. You can have it a little bit more relaxed and you'll find that a little bit easier. It also gets tighter the more you weave it. So I allowed that to determine how far I was going to weave each shell. Once it had just got too tight to thread my needle through, I stopped at that point. And to tie it off, I'm going to go under all of the weaving and push my needle out to meet the other loose end. You might need to give it a bit of a wriggle. And there you go, that's style number 2 finished. Just tie that off again in a double knot and burn off any loose fibres if you like that look better. Let me know what you think of these in the comments. Now I'll speed up the video a little bit and just show you that you can also do this to small shells. I probably wouldn't advise going any smaller than this with your shell unless you change to a much finer thread. If you'd like your shell to be longer, just take as much twine as you want and get the right length and start at that point. And then when you're finished, take the same amount of twine but add a bit extra so that you can allow for weaving. And there you go, that's the longer version. You can add a bead and quite simply hang this as it is. Thanks for joining me today. I really hope I've inspired you to try this out. I believe it's an original idea. I haven't been able to find anything online that resembles it. And I like to come up with new ideas. But if you've seen this before, please let me know in the comments. Stay tuned to my channel and I'll show you within the week what I do with these shells. Bye for now.